Hey guys, welcome back to another Carsonia Means video. We finally got the Week 4 recap. We've got all the games so far that have been played. Obviously, 2 games that were supposed to be played haven't. The Steelers-Titans game, which of course is moved to Week 7, and the Patriots-Chiefs game that has been moved to tonight. If you're looking for a Thursday night recap, I have a separate video on that. A Monday night recap, that video will be coming out tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about all the games, just a quick little analysis. We try not to make these videos too long. And yeah, if you're into football, this would be a good channel for you to subscribe to. Just figure I should go ahead and say that. Don't forget to subscribe. So anyways, the first game we're going to talk about are the Saints-Lions. And the Saints did manage to beat the Lions 35-21. And even though the Saints did win, in my opinion, I feel like it was a pretty bad game for the Saints again. For one, they had to come back against the Lions. They were down 14-0 at one point, and then they had to struggle to come back. Of course, at halftime, it was 28-14, so they did come back in that second quarter really big. But still, I do feel like the Saints, they are underperforming again. I feel like they had a bad Monday night game, and then last week they did still play pretty well, but they didn't play as well as we've seen them play before. And they go up against the Lions, who haven't known to be the best team, and then they don't play like amazingly, if you understand what I'm talking about. So the Saints not looking like great, but you're still looking pretty good. You're 2-2. You're, I think, 3rd in your division, and of course, I think it goes Buccaneers, Panthers, Saints, but I'm sure y'all will get up there. Wait, no. Y'all are above the Panthers because y'all got the divisional win. Who cares? Let's move on to the next game we're talking about, which is Chargers versus the Buccaneers. The Chargers actually at one point were up 24-7. And I was like, dang, Justin Herbert, okay. But then the Buccaneers came back at the end to win 38-31. Pretty big comeback there by Tom Brady, showing that he still got it in him. Justin Herbert, though, looking great. I know he's lost all 3 games he's played in, but he's looked really good in all of them. And I mean, that's pretty good. I think it was mainly his defense that let up 24 points in the second half that kind of did him in. He did go out there and score 31 points on this pretty tough Buccaneers defense. He did go scoreless in the fourth quarter, but he did still play really, really well, especially for, this kind of situation that he's in. So yeah, and if you're a Buccaneers fan, y'all are also playing really well. So next up, we have Giants versus the Rams. The Rams, as we know, have been playing really, really well. And they come out in here and they only beat the Giants by 8 points. This is pretty scary because last week they didn't really underperform, but this week they are looking pretty. I mean, they didn't play too bad, but they kind of underperformed, and we saw what happened last year, and I'm kind of scared it's going to happen again this year, but again, we're not going to overreact from just 1 week. The Rams are 3-1. They do still have a really tough defense and a really good offense. And the other thing is that Daniel Jones has been playing like a bust. They haven't got a touchdown in these past 2 weeks. Daniel Jones has been throwing pick after pick after pick. He is playing pretty badly. So right now, he is playing like a bust. Right now, just had to put that out there. He is playing like a bust. Now that, he doesn't have Saquon Barkley to rely on, we're kind of seeing what a Daniel Jones-led team would be, and it's pretty bad. I mean, if Saquon Barkley isn't there, I'm sure they'd be playing better, but right now the Giants are they're like really bad. And next up we have the Bills versus the Raiders. The Bills, of course, on fire, 4-0, possibly one of the best defenses. Josh Allen, MVP-like performance. He's just playing great. The Bills beat the Raiders 30-23. It was really close at one point. It was 17-16, and the Bills kind of took off, and the Raiders, I think it was 30-16, and the Raiders scored a touchdown near the end of the game to make it 30-23. So the Raiders, they aren't playing as well as they did on that one Monday night game, but they are still playing really well, especially their tight ends. I mean, Nelson Aguilar, we saw him kind of have a breakout game there. So, the Bills played really, really well, and the Raiders, I think, played pretty well. We got the Bills at 4-0, Raiders at 2-2, so we'll have to see if the Bills can, hang in there in that division with a really tough division there. I kind of doubt it, but who knows. Coming up next, we have the Jaguars versus the Bengals. The Bengals, Joe Burrow finally gets his first win. He is 1-2-1. Joe Burrow has been playing like a veteran. He's been playing great. The Jaguars, they had 2 or 3 really good. They had 2 really good games at the beginning. They were 1-1. Week 3, they played okay, and then now they just kind of, fell apart. Yeah, the Jaguars, they're regret. We saw this a couple years back. I think when they still had Blake Bortles, actually, I think they won like their first 2 games, one of which against the Tom Brady led Patriots. Sorry, one of my lights just went out, and then they completely just flopped. So it's kind of looking like that's going to happen again. And yeah, they got to pick things back up. They need to look at what they were doing in the first couple of weeks and kind of redo that again. Anyways, moving on to the next page, we have Vikings versus Texans. And really, I mean, the Vikings, these past 2 games, I mean, the first 2 games were just absolutely atrocious, and they come out against the Titans, and they almost win, and then they go up against the Texans, and they actually do win. The Texans, they were pretty good last year, but this year they've just completely falling apart, really. Deshaun Watson's really the only good part of that offense right now. This defense, I mean, they're struggling. The Vikings managed to score 31-23 points. Well, the score was 31-23, but they scored 31 points on them. And yeah, the Vikings kind of returning to form as last year. I don't know what happened, probably the lack of preseason. But maybe, I mean, they're 1-3. They could still get back into it. It is only week 4, so we'll have to see what they can pull out next year. But right now, the Texans, it's not looking very good. I mean, we saw them, I think, 2 years ago go 0-5 and then end up winning the division. I don't know if they can do that again, but we'll see. And next up, Seahawks-Dolphins, a game that I thought would be a huge blowout, but no. I mean, the Seahawks only won by 8, 31-23. They did still get the win, though. They are still undefeated. The Dolphins, on the other hand, 1-3. Fitzpatrick, he threw for over 300 yards, but he had 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. It was all about that running game. The Seahawks, in my opinion, I do think they underperformed. They did score 31 points. They won, but I still got to say, I think they underperformed. I think looking what they did the first 3 weeks, I think it was nothing like this. So either the Dolphins are way better than we have seen, or the Seahawks kind of flopped in this game, though. I'm sure they'll come back. They've been great for the past couple of years. One bad game isn't going to change my mind on their whole season. And coming up next, we have the Browns-Cowboys. The Browns beat the I know, look, so the score is 49-38. Browns won, which is, they almost scored 50 points. Also, the Browns, I know it's a 11-point win, but that is a lot closer than it actually was. The Browns completely blew them out. At one point, it was 41-14. I mean, the Browns took over this game. I mean, it was all about the Browns. They played great. The Cowboys, on the other hand, are completely just flopping. Dak Prescott, really the only good part about that team anymore. This offense is still, this passing game is still pretty good. He has over 450 yards in 3 straight games. I think I saw that as an NFL record, so congratulations to him. But obviously it's not working. Because they only won one of those, and it was a comeback victory late in the game against the Falcons, who are known for choking. So I wouldn't be too excited, especially if, Ezekiel Elliott has been playing atrociously. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. Next up, we have the Cardinals versus the Panthers. The Panthers, surprisingly, go out and they win 31-21. At one point, it was I think it was 21-0 at one point, but then I think it was 14-0, and then it was. No, it was 21-0 at one point. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's 21-0. Cardinals, they kind of keep it close for the rest of the game. 31-21. The Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater is on fire. He was making passes like crazy. 2 of my 3 lights just went out. I'm wondering to see if the last one will go out. Who knows? Anyways, and the Cardinals, they're kind of getting exposed because they played 2 good games. I mean, they beat the 49ers when they were healthy, 24-20, looked great. Came out, completely stomped all over Washington, I think 30-15, looked great. Last week, the Lions beat them. They threw 3 interceptions. Kyler Murray kind of looked pretty bad. This week, they go up against the Panthers. They look pretty bad. Which one is it going to be? Is it going to be the beginning of the season, DeAndre Hopkins freaking out, their amazing offense popping off, or is it going to be this week 3 and 4 stuff of just them playing terribly? I hope you understand what I mean. But so the Panthers, though, looking up. They lost both games that had McCaffrey in there, and they won both games without him. Teddy Bridgewater, though, he is playing really, really well. So Panthers looking good. Next game, Ravens-Washington. The Ravens completely demolished them 31-17. Really, it was 31-10. Washington got a touchdown there. It was a Dwayne Haskins run to the right with like a minute left. It really didn't mean anything. So really, it was a 21-point game. Lamar Jackson bounced back. And the only positive really for Washington is that Dwayne Haskins and Antonio Gibson played really well. Dwayne Haskins had over 300 passing yards and no interceptions, which is good. And Gibson, I mean, he had a couple big plays, especially one that got him like down to the 10-yard line. I think when they got their they got their first touchdown of the game was off of that. So yeah, Washington. I mean, Dwayne Haskins, he played really well against this tough defense. We'll see what they can do next week against the Rams. And I mean, this would be pretty good because the Washington looked pretty good in this game, and the Rams looked pretty bad against the Giants, who are decidedly worse than the Washington. So I'm starting to think maybe they have a chance next week. Who knows? Probably not. All right, we only have a few more games to talk about. Colts-Bears. The Colts managed to beat the Bears 19-11. The Colts defense went crazy. I think they allowed like 23 rushing yards, and Nick Foles just couldn't hold up to the pressure, and he completely underperformed. Yeah, so the Colts defense really showing up in this game. They won it by 8 points, 19-11. All about the Colts in this game. So, yeah. And the Sunday night game between the Eagles and the 49ers. The Eagles managed to get their first win of the season. And they got their first win of the season and are now number one in the NFC East. So, congratulations to the Eagles at 1-2-1 are leading their division. So now it goes Eagles, Washington, Cowboys, Giants, but I'm sure that'll change eventually. I'm sure Washington will end up at third and the Cowboys end up at second. Just saying. And then let's be honest, both teams played pretty badly. I was watching it, and while the score was 25-20, that's a pretty low-scoring game, especially from what we're seeing this season. I mean, we've seen from 5 years ago, looking at now, scores have launched upwards. This is all about offense. And finally, 2 of the lights cut back on. Can you believe it? There's just one that's off. I know nobody cares. So Nick Mullins, so it was 14-11 near the end of the game. There was like 5 minutes left. The 49ers are up 14-11. Carson Wentz takes him out there. He leads them down. They score a touchdown, 18-14. I'm just kind of telling you what happened. And then with like 3 minutes left, no, I think it was like 6 minutes left, Nick Mullins goes out there and they're like, all right, we have to go down the field. We have to get a touchdown, and we have to get back on top of this game probably. And, we probably going to have to get a touchdown. So it's up by 3. And then first play of that drive, he throws a pick 6, so it's 25-14. Then this third-string quarterback named C.J. Beathard went out there and in 3 minutes, drove him down the field, scored a touchdown, and I think he was like 6 for 6 for like 90 yards. The man wasn't, at the very end of just in that one drive, he was like 6 for 6 for 90 yards. He was great. He goes out there. They do end up with the ball again because they try an onside kick. It doesn't work. The Eagles get the ball back. They run the ball a couple of times. The 49ers use all their timeouts. The 49ers get the ball back. And he leads them down the field again, 14 for 19 for 140 yards. I mean, he was a beast. I've never even heard of the guy, and he goes out there, and he plays great. Now, I know we see a lot of quarterbacks when it's like desperate, they turn on and they play really, really well. But still, I mean, that was some pretty good playing that we saw there from C.J. Beathard, who no one's heard of. So, I'll be back here tomorrow with a recap of the Patriots-Chiefs games along with the Falcons-Packers game. I'm just going to make that into one big Monday night special kind of thing. You'll see it tomorrow. And make sure to subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. We do this every kind of week along with predictions, along with power rankings. We're just going to move back to Wednesday. We do all kinds of stuff posting every single day of the week, including Sunday, unless I'm busy, in which case I just push it back to whenever I'm not busy. In my description, you'll find links to all my socials. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. In fact, I know I'll see you in the next one, or else.